Hello, Goldsboro cohort of 706, Dr. Palermo with your week 2 instructional video and message for you. I hope that you had a good first week of school and that you're currently having a nice Labor Day weekend. It is Labor Day here in Pittsburgh as I'm recording this. Um, I hope that you are able to cook out or share some time with family and friends for this long weekend before we get right down to the work of the fall semester. Well, you do have some reading to do, some thinking and writing to do, and you're planning ahead for your evidences. I hope you're working on some of those. If you have not explored all of the resources in Blackboard for your FCEPA and the PLCPA, it's definitely time to do that and get some thinking going along with that, along with readings this week in Hall and Horde and in the Farrader and Graham PLC book. So, what do I need for you to know and do this week? In Hall and Horde, Chapter 2 is all about interventions. So we have lots of change efforts in schools. We talked about a lot of different change efforts that you're currently going through or have experienced as a professional educator in your lifetime. What is an intervention? When change is happening, you can do something to help or hinder the change, or you can do nothing. And that's the definition of an intervention, doing something or nothing that is either going to help or hinder the implementation of that change. Okay. Well, if you stop and think about it, there's that whole range of things that people are doing and not doing related to change in schools. If they're supposed to be implementing a new curriculum or using a new textbook or integrating diversity, maybe they're doing it, maybe they're not. Maybe they're actively working against that. Maybe they're blocking it in some way. There are interventions. There are positive things that we can do as leaders in schools to to hopefully help change happen. So you can plan and provide resources. If there is supposed to be a new student-centered science activity and you're providing microscopes for the science teachers, you're providing resources. You're helping that change happen by providing resources. If you're asking folks to do more with less and you're cutting them off at the knees without any paper or pencil or books or resources, then you're blocking. That's an intervention that's blocking the change. So we can plan and deliver professional development. We can monitor and provide support for folks. We can celebrate success. There are many different interventions that happen in schools. So Chapter 2 asks you to think about those interventions. Um, how can you help with the interventions for your PE? Well, for the week 2 discussion, it asks you to think about your program evaluation. This program is to be implementing some change, is hopefully bringing some change about it at your school. Who will you target for external communication about this change effort? What might your talking points be? How will you know if it's successful? So think about your program evaluation. Look back at your PEA and B, if those, and hopefully it's your same program. Who are you going to communicate that to? And what are the talking points? If it's about mentoring at your school, what is happening now that you hope will result in a better mentoring relationship and hopefully in the retention of those initially licensed teachers at your school? What are the talking points? How will you know if it's successful? Think about Chapter 2 and respond in the discussion and respond to at least one peer after you've posted your response, please. So that's Chapter 2 in Hall and Horde. Chapter 1, this PLC book thinks about the course of a school year and thinking about implementing PLCs in a school. It kind of assumes that you're doing some planning in the summer and in the fall, introducing the idea and implementing it and working through some of the personalities during the course of a school year. So wherever you are in PLCs, however you're going to relate that to your PLC PA, I hope you've enjoyed chapter one and looked through and thought about this book as a whole. What I do want you to note, I think Elizabeth, Liz Garcia pointed this out. On page 24 in this text is a reproducible that is a quick, dirty, first step to assess PLTs, PLCs in your school. It describes traditional teacher teams and professional learning teams, some of the differences, and then asks folks to reflect and what are we doing well now? What characteristics of professional learning teams seem most intimidating? And what could we start working on right now? Where's the low-hanging fruit? Where might we begin? If you don't do anything else, take a look at page 24 and think about how you might use that. Perhaps you already have data from your CNA that you want to use to write your PLC, to identify needs for improving PLCs or PLTs at your school. But your two new projects, your FCEPA and the PLCPA, are, again, year-long projects where you're planning this semester and implementing in the spring. As you think about the PLCP here and the Family Community Engagement Project, think about reverse engineering the change that you want to happen in the spring. If you are involved in doing something to change PLCs at your school, if you are involved in working with the PTA and the leadership team to make some change in family and community engagement, what is it that's actually doable for you? How can you reverse engineer that from what you hope to do in spring to justify the needs back here as you plan in the fall? I hope I'm being clear about that. But uh, again, make sure that these plans that you're writing in the fall to implement in the spring are doable, actionable. You have the support, you have the resources. Think about the change that you want to have happen, how you're going to make it happen, what you need, and what's actually doable. I'm suggesting that you take it slow, grab the low-hanging fruit, don't bite off more than you can chew. And, oh, by the way, please check out resources. I've rambled a little bit about the FCEP and PLCP. Check out the resources here in Blackboard if you have not already, please. I think I pointed out to you during class in the FCEPA folder, this PTA, this is great stuff. You've got gold here if you spend some time and dig into it. In particular, if you did not have data from your CNA to justify or to explain how you might increase or improve family community engagement, check out some of the resources here. And again, I think we looked at some of these, but I really like this two-page survey. That again, if you don't have the data to suggest how you might improve or increase family community engagement, think about this two-page PTA survey going out to home. To a class that you can control, to your homeroom, to your team, if you get permission from your principal and do the whole school, if you send it out as a link and ask for electronic results, this might be a great place to start. Maybe it's more than you want to do, but that might be a good place. And again, in this PTA folder, under resources, tons of stuff. And we didn't begin to really scratch the surface of all the resources that are there. Also, for the PLCPA, a lot of resources. Again, I think you have a good number of reproducibles that you could use just in this book alone. But as you explore resources to think about your PLCPA, this is a great place to come. And you need to spend some time clicking around and looking at this stuff. The CETL information is really top-notch, and lots of good brief information about PLCs, about how to assess the current level of functioning in your PLCs and how you might improve them. So please spend some time digging into those resources. What else is there for week 2? Reading, Hall and Horde, Graham and Ferreter. Reading in the Blackboard page, please. checking out the discussions and responding here a little bit about your PEC. This FCEPA resource, again, this is forcing you to think about what you might use from that folder. And looking ahead, Chapter 10 is about relationships and how change happens. And anyway, the sociogram. Look ahead to that and think about it. A sociogram is nothing more than charting the interactions between individuals in a school. And who sits with whom at the lunch tables is maybe an interesting place to start with sociograms. So check that out and think about it and respond here in the discussion post. It'll get you thinking further down the line about some of this Hall and Hoard implementation stuff. That's plenty for this week. I hope you have a great week. Please do write to me, call if you have any questions. Be thinking about your PE as well as your FCEPA and PLCP, and we'll get some writing done soon. Thank you. Have a great week.